Alright, so, good morning. Alright, so today I finished my demo album, Reclaim. I call all of these demo albums because they're not done in a studio, they're not official releases, they're not on a label, they're not necessarily they're not even for sale. It's just basically the free demo version of what would be an actual studio album if I had the funds and the full band and all that stuff to make it. So anyway, so today I finished the demo album, Reclaim. So this album, basically all the dark stuff that I've kind of been going through all got put into this, which is a really normal thing. Pretty much anything I go through almost becomes a song in some way or another, so 95% of it's autobiographical, but there's always like that 5-10% of songs that are actually written about other people, and it's about them, it's not about me, and then half of it's sort of about the state of the world anyway, so it's usually a battle between the state of the world and me. That's like the bulk of what I write. Anyway, so I just thought I would make some of these vlogs going through the track listings and the albums and just kind of explaining what it's about, if anyone is curious, which I'm sure probably no one is, but but I put it up here anyway for the sake of making a vlog, just because I should probably make more of them. Alright, so the first song is called Learn to Waste. All that is just about your time being wasted, basically. I mean, there's not really anything epic or whatever to say. I don't know if there's even anything epic to say about majority of the stuff I write, and they're just little mini documentations. So, Learn to Waste it's just regret and beating yourself up over all the years that have gone by and you haven't been able to do anything, you haven't lived life, you haven't gotten the things that you want, or whatever. I mean, it's like a wasted life, a life that's the same day every day and it never seems to go anywhere. And it's just the bitterness of that, basically, and the regret and the self-beating yourself up of. So song Heaven. Heaven is pretty much the theme of the album. It's the beginning of the album and it's basically the end of the album. So the beginning of the way this concept album works is that it's in the mind frame, or it's of a perspective of an LGBT person who is visible looking as that in society, in right now, the way that the world is. And it's part of it is my own perspective, but I noticed actually as I started writing it, once it got to like 3/4 through the album, I was like, holy shit, this album isn't about me. This album's about almost everyone that's in this situation. And it was like, once all this stuff happened with, you know, just before Trump got elected, or even as he just got elected, and how just this great divide of the country that's been building over the past 3 to 4 years of just all minorities against the world, and just the people who have had problems with minorities, who hate them and want to deal violence to them, have been repressed for all this time. So now it's like they're coming out and they're doing violence to these people, and consequently the people who are minorities, anywhere from LGBT to black to racist, to races, all of these things kind of together. These people are like, I've had enough of living my life in this kind of pain, in this not ability to have freedom, of this life under threat, under the gun, and then they've had enough. So it's kind of these two things collide, which is what I feel like our state of the world is right now, and that's pretty much what this album is. It's coming from the perspective of someone who's on the minority side, but there's also certain songs where it really shows the engagement of a war for kind of both sides of it. So Heaven is about, you know that you're on the minority side, and basically you know you're going to get killed, but you haven't gotten killed yet. It's the very beginning where you're like, holy shit, I'm screwed. I'm going to end up dying because I am who I am. And because people can see it. It's the beginning of the fear before the fear becomes what happens. So that's what Heaven is. So that's the beginning of the album. It also becomes the end of the album. This third song, Concussion, I had a fall injury which ended up being concussion, which is post-concussion syndrome, also known as mild-traumatic brain injury. So I live with dizziness and all these symptoms. Have been disabled from this. I'm afraid to go out in public for the sake if I get hit across a baseball bat on the head, it's like I'll die of second impact, or if I fall. So this whole fear of falling, or fear of a never concussion, is the song Concussion, which is what builds the beginning of the fear with the song Heaven. It's like, you know you're going to end up dying. It builds the agoraphobia. It's a song essentially about agoraphobia, fear of falling, getting second impact. The next song is FH. FH stands for fucking hatred. And this is really where the war in the album starts. And this song is about the Civil War. It's about it's about bisexual, gay, transgender people. They're being out on the streets. They look how they look. They're visible looking. They're not people who are going under a radar. And they're dealing great violence. And these other people who are on this other side of the oppressors are shooting them and beating them up. And it got to a point where the LGBT people aren't going to deal with peaceful shit anymore. They're going to go and buy the guns, and they're going to shoot them too. And it just becomes this gigantic, literally like a draw battle out on the streets, just a bloodbath, basically, is what it is. I mean, it's just, that's where the rage really starts, and it becomes acted out in the streets, from both sides of it, which is really what I feel like is the apocalypse, the social apocalypse of the social war, of what is going to happen, and what basically is happening, and it's been building. So the next song is called Man. Man is about my experiences on dating sites, where it's like all these straight men are attracted to me, and they're listed as straight, but they all want anonymous, discreet sex. So, and then on my perspective of myself, I've had all these relationships with women that didn't work out, so I want to have a relationship with a man, because I haven't had any success with women, and I just haven't had a boyfriend before, so it's like, how am I going to know that's not going to work until I do it? So it's the sickening frustration. It really makes me sick. It's like, I just want a regular relationship just like I would with a girl. You know, you date, you're not scared of each other, you're not hiding it, you're just living your life, like normally, like peaceful, and it's all compatible, and it works, you're all happy. That's all I want. But all the guys that all IM me, or message me rather, it's all straight men that want anonymous, down low, so to speak, sex encounters, one-time encounters, or sometimes few times, or whatever. And I'm not interested in that at all, and it's really unsafe to be in a situation like that when you're in my perspective, because these people, they get to fucking have, you know, their family, their girlfriend or their wife, and their nice job, and they get to not ever be harmed in public because they look straight, and yet all these people are gay. But the majority of them are bisexual. So I'm frustrated and really angry because I look gay to people. Like, people don't even think I even like women. And not even a virgin. I'm not even out messaging these people. And these are the ones all messaging me, and they get to have their fucking cake and eat it too, so to speak. Like, they get to have all their safety, don't have to go through any pain that I go through, and they still get sex. And on top of that, no one, it's like all society doesn't believe that these are all the guys who are out having male-to-male sex. It's all the jocks, the cowboys, the cops, the firemen, the military, the thugs, all of these super hyper-masculine figures that everyone fucking thinks heterosexuality is based on. They're all out there having sex with men. So, it's just like, fuck you all, you're all bisexual. So, that's what that song's about, that's what Man is about. The sixth song, State of Denial, the title kind of leaks into over that same idea, that they have a state of denial about who they are, there's a state of denial of what's going on with the whole thing, but State of Denial isn't actually about that. State of Denial is actually about a friendship that I had with someone, where it got destroyed, and that when you have a state of denial of who's at fault, and who actually did what, and this whole, like, this blame that is displaced, basically. Where you have a shame-blame system, but it's all displaced. It's not of who actually did what, and it's all wrongfully accused, and it's all mixed up and all chaotic, and then you never talk to each other again. That's what state of denial is. It's not about being closeted. It has nothing to do with sexuality, orientation. But the title works really good after that other song. The seventh song, Sinking. Sinking is about that, yeah, it's the feeling that you're drowning in being LGBT, that it's all going downhill, everything's getting really bad, it's getting really scary, and that you're not going to be able to live your life, and that you're starting to even feel suicidal. Like, you're starting to really give up hope. You're starting to really feel isolated, and it's just this whole drowning feeling. And this whole, on top of that layer, you're bombarded with all these thoughts of, oh my god, you have to be straight, or you have to not be transgender, you have to be gender conforming, you have to look like everyone else, and all this crap, and it's like, you can't, but you're conditioned, that's what you have. So it's like, while you're drowning, it's that other, it's trying to pull you up, but it's like, it's not pulling you up of what's actually going to work for you, or what's even going to be healthy for you. It just kind of does it, and it creates a more sinking feeling kind of down like this. Is It Here on Earth is about basically me being thrown into the LGBT world when I'm quite possibly not even LGBT at all. It's just because everyone thinks gender nonconformity is homosexuality. Everyone thinks gender nonconformity is transgender. But in honest to God, my case, I'm like, I never really like masturbate to men or anything. I want a relationship with men, but it's like I'm actually more attracted to women and really want that. And the men stuff kind of happens a lot of times because I'm not getting that fulfillment because of just the way that the gender nonconformity makes me incompatible with women. So it's this gigantic conclusion thing of, do I actually belong in LGBT, or am I wrongfully accused and just having to force myself to be in it because that's kind of what society is doing by pushing you. When you're gender nonconforming, they push you into being LGBT. You're already pre-labeled, you're pre-treated, all of this. And you may not even actually be LGBT. So that's really what the situation is. Is it here on Earth? It's kind of like, you know, am I even on the right planet, or am I supposed to go somewhere else? Where did I actually come from? Where's actually my home? Where do you go? What do you do? So that's what Is It Here on Earth is about. Resistance, you know, I actually can't quite remember what it's about with the words. I can't think of the words right in front of me. But it's pretty much the same thing of the two songs, Sinking and Is It Here on Earth together. It's, again, about, like, I think it says, like, I don't know where to go, I don't know who to be, and it's just this whole resistance against this natural, which isn't even necessarily natural, push of being LGBT, and you really might not even be. And it's just this whole resistance in every direction, which is making you, like, stalemated. And this is gonna be where a lot of the anger is starting. I mean, you already had the first explosion in the song Fucking Hatred, and everything after the song Fucking Hatred ends up being this gigantic, sinking, isolating, like, giving up, surrendering, loss, confusion, suffering. That goes on. The song Storm was about, it got really dark in my house, really cold, really windy, and all these thoughts in my head started thinking of all the people who are lost in my life. And so Storm is about, it's just how, like, almost you could think of like a tornado that could come and almost destroy the house that you've built on, or you've been built in. And how it's all just reduced to rubble, and then you're just here looking at all the pieces of what has happened after this gigantic storm, after all this destruction has occurred, all the losses, all the friendships, all the society, everything. You're just feeling all the loss and all the isolation. There's almost a grieving. It's almost like a grievingness about that kind of loss. The next song, It's Another Side of Pain, is, again, it's like state of denial, except this is only about the grieving part of the loss of that relationship or friendship. So It's Another Side of Pain is just basically kind of melancholingly, or sort of lightly saying that we all suffer. We're all gonna suffer. We're all gonna experience loss. We're all gonna experience all these, you know, relationship pain stuff that makes us have losses. So I guess I'm normal. It's like, I guess maybe this whole violence, maybe this whole thing isn't really so in this thing anymore. Maybe it's just a global feeling of we all have loss, and maybe all this stuff doesn't really necessarily matter. It's all normalized. So that's what that song's about. The second song, Leave It in the Wind, ends up being the bitter thing of trying to move on, but you really can't. So you're just starting to create this anger, and then you're starting to turn into this angry soldier that's about to go against the world. That's pretty much what Leave It in the Wind is about. Everyone and you and yourself know that you've got to somehow abandon the past, but you cannot forget it, and you cannot really forgive it. So that anger, that like almost angry ghost-like spirit inside of you is just kind of going, and now you're. Anyway, so my camera battery died, so I'm gonna try to make this quick or whatever to finish it. So the vortex is about not being able to trust anyone and having all your friends essentially end up screwing your life up, or you're just around the wrong people and things are just getting kind of bad. The song Knotch is about people basically who are trying to have sex with other kinds of people to fill up a void in their life, and there's also a lot of people who are LGBT on dating sites who enter relationship dynamics to try to basically fulfill these other parts to themselves while also trying to have a heterosexual base marriage or long-term relationship, and it's really kind of not really what they really want. They actually want to be in a homosexual kind of relationship, but they feel like they can't, so they're sort of dipped half and half, and there becomes with the casual sex culture part of it, and how people just want tons of it, and they don't even want relationships. It's like the whole relationship thing is pretty much broken, in a sense. And that it leads to this whole kind of depersonalization, and that there's a lot of distrust kind of being created from the situation. The song Jason leads up from the song Knotch, because Knotch was about casual sex. The song Jason end up encountering a person through a casual sex situation, or just even a relationship standpoint from like a dating site, and turns out to be a serial killer. And a serial killer that was particularly hunting an LGBT type person to have sex with, and then out of their internalized homophobia and hatred of themselves, they must basically kill and murder the person violently and rape them and all this stuff, and then the person dies, basically. So that's pretty much what occurs, and it's just a graphic song about the horrors of, being in that situation. And the first person that came to my mind was, Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. But there was the act of the raping with the woman type of part. That kind of reminded me of Ted Bundy, and then the castration of penis and being kept in a box was like, say, something Jason Dahmer did. So it's sort of all that kind of combined together. A World of Trump is about, A World of Rump, sort of interchangeably. It's not necessarily about him, but it's more about everyone else, really. It's more about the whole culture of just all the people that this is where the violence is starting to occur out in the streets. It's sort of like the song FH all over again. And it's the LGBT people really living in extreme fear. And it's just all this violence is starting to take place, and you don't feel safe. The song Too Late is about that this whole thing has happened, the damage is done, it cannot be undone. And the deaths have happened, the losses have happened, the murders have happened, the fear and the sort of social terrorism has all happened, and it became the state of the world, and you cannot take it back. It's what has occurred, it is what is there. The song Letting Go of the Fear is pretty much the standpoint of every LGBT person, especially transgender in this situation, but also gay and bisexual as well, for people who look visible. It's about, even though you're basically going to die and you're going to get murdered, and all these people are out looking for you, is that if you don't do it, it's do or die. So you're going to end up killing yourself if you don't do it. So you end up going out in the world anyway. You end up braving the world. It's the only way to regain some sense of sanity, some sense of personal freedom, some sense of I belong here, I deserve to live, I deserve to have a good life, I deserve peace, and trying to somehow psychologically create a little bit of that peace inside your mind, even though in this case it's only a temporary thing. You end up getting killed, the end of the song, you go up to heaven, so it goes back to the song Heaven, which is the second song. So that's how this leaps together. So now, structurally, the person is dead. The person was already dead at Jason, and it's sort of the aftermath of the Jason song is sort of been these past 4 songs. And Song Sky is about the person's spirit up in heaven and trying to almost say, like, even though I'm gone, my mark on the world has been left, and the world hopefully will become a better place. And being able to communicate to the people who are already gone and who suffered these tragic murders and losses, ended up later making it better for other people in the world, and that there's a sense of communication between the LGBT community with these people who are LGBT that have died, with also people who are not LGBT people who can also communicate with the people who are LGBT that died. So it's sort of this, all of that sort of coming together, and that's what the whole album is, and it's called Reclaim, because this whole thing is about trying to reclaim a sense of one's own survival and deserving to live despite this whole thing. And it goes through the entire wave process of someone who's LGBT, especially someone who visibly looks like, especially someone who's transgender, especially someone who is very overtly gay, or someone who is really androgynous, just breaking all these gender roles and all this stuff. That's pretty much what this whole album is about, and so that is the album Reclaim.